and maybe also share your video feed if you would like. We are also streaming on YouTube, so if that's a problem, maybe you can turn off the camera. Otherwise, hi everyone. Hi.
Hey, Ayan.
Hi, Nikhil. So we just had this 4 hours long Discord music jam session, and that was really good.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna put a link in that as well. So if anyone is there, we can try and.
Hello, everyone.
Hi. Maybe everyone can just say their name once. So hi, I'm Ayan. I'm in New Delhi right now. Gonna do a small show and tell today.
Hey, I'm Nikhil. And I'm also from New Delhi. Actually, we all are part of ILFD, I guess. India Linux User Group Delhi. And I guess we can go to Abhinav and all.
Hey, am I audible? This is my first time. Oh, hey. I'm Dr. Abhinav Kumar, and I'm from Patna. And unfortunately, I used up quite a bit of data over the course of days, so I directly come on at 10, I guess. And yeah, so I do coding as like a pastime hobby. Watch random videos on YouTube and learn from there. And so that's it. Nikhil invited me.
Awesome. Good to have you. So I believe you're also doing a show and tell tonight.
Oh, yeah. I need to conserve my net for that.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. Okay, then I'll see you around then. Bye.
Sure.
Bye, guys.
All right, let's wait for a couple of minutes to. Oh, I see Ruchika. Hi, Ruchika. Your mic is mute.
I do not know why, but the grid preview of Zoom is kind of flickering for no apparent reason. It is kind of annoying because the whole screen is flickering a lot.
I think that's not happening with me.
Yeah, that's not also happening with me. So, okay, hi. So, I'm Ruchika, and you can find me online as Girl Who Lists and source. So, yeah, that's on me.
Awesome.
Hello. Is my sound audible?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Super.
Hi.
Super. Hello. My name is Akash, and currently I am in Mumbai. Yeah, I work with sound and electronics and software.
Awesome. So let's put the link.
Just a moment. For some reason, I guess Zion Zolt, I do not remember his name, cannot introduce himself. So he is, what was his name?
Harsh.
He's Harsh Latwal, and he is also from New Delhi and a part of ILFD.
Please.
I introduced him. Manav, just mute yourself if you're talking elsewhere, please.
Oh, I did not realize I was unmuted.
We were doing some Zoom thing a couple of nights back, and there were some people who rolled. Okay, so can you mute themselves? Yeah, so we were doing some Zoom stuff a couple of nights back, and we were hit by Zoom bombers, basically trolling and streaming porn. So that was crazy, and we just closed the link. So I can see everyone who's requesting to join, and I'm letting them in. So I know their names, and if I'm not sure about anyone, I can like ask them some question and then can let them in. So let's wait for 5 more minutes and then we can start with the show and tell. I think there are some folks having problems joining the link. So I'm just gonna answer them.
For me, Zoom explicitly asked for an email ID. I had to register before joining in. You were saying that it will not be an issue.
Yeah, that's what I have been doing without coming in without an email ID.
Not
Same,
in my
actually
case.
needed to log in before the thing.
Maybe share that you will have to log in those groups.
Yeah, so can anyone write that?
Ajax, can you do
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
I did it.
Fine. Thanks,
Thanks,
Ruchika.
Ruchika.
Oh, Akash is there. I didn't see. Hi, Akash.
Akash already introduced himself. I see Shreyans. Hi Shreyans, how are you? Can you hear me? I don't think Shreyans can hear me. Raju, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Shreyans, okay, someone needs to turn off the Telegram. A lot of messages there.
Shreyan's mic is, yeah. Thanks.
So yeah, someone needs to just go to the Telegram and take care of it. There have been a lot of messages there. Maybe people have some queries.
So I posted in the other groups also about this login thing. Let's see if anyone else has issues. I'll cater to them.
Okay, all right, that will be good. Yeah, so a lot of platforms has evolved. Zoom, I think, is the recent one which I have used. Okay, so people are coming in. Let's just wait for 2 more minutes and then we can start.
Hey.
Hi, Animesh. We can hear you, but we can't see you.
Yeah, wait a minute.
I see.
Tweet the thing. Did we tweet about the thing? The Zoom link and all?
Yeah, I think. Awesome. How are you doing?
See me? Am I visible now?
Yeah, you are. How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine. वो cover नहीं हटाया था.
Oh, okay. Okay, so I see SG. Should I let him in or her? I'm not sure. Let's see. Letting everyone in for now, and if there's some issue, we can kick them out.
Maybe if they don't introduce them like within a minute or something, you can.
SG, can you introduce yourself? So, people still having problem joining in?
Hi, Anand. Hi.
Yeah, hi, Akash.
As you were saying, like on the Zoom link, people were trolling and stuff.
Just for a second, sound codes. Shreyans Iyer, if you don't mind, can you please put yourself on mute because there's a lot of sound coming from your side, I guess.
Yep. Yeah, now we're good.
Thanks. Yeah, go on, sound codes.
Yeah, man. Like, just a question. Like, is there any specific reason you opted for Zoom other than like other jazz, like Meet or Jitsi?
No, that's not any reason. So basically, the Zoom free edition has some limitation of number of participants and total meeting length. But Hackaday has a Zoom account with the full license. So we are using Hackaday Zoom account to host the meeting. That's the only reason. But yeah, we can do it
Is
on
there
Jitsi.
any specific reason you opted?
Nope, no specific reason. But the thing is, okay, so Akash, you are on mute if you are trying to say something.
No, the sound looped back, so it was quite.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so no specific reason. We can also use other platform, but if someone wants to bomb the video call, they can do it on any platform anyway. Okay, so let's start with the show and tell, and more people will join in, and I'll let them in. So, first of all, how are you doing in quarantine? Where are you guys located, and what are the situation around there? So I'm in New Delhi, and uh, not not doing very good. Uh, I have most of the things I use for hacking and making things, but still not able to go out is messing with my brain. Yeah. Okay. I see Mike is there. I'm gonna add Mike. Mike, hi. How are you? Can you hear me? Uh, Mike, can you hear me? Amanjeet, hi. Can you introduce yourself, please?
Hi, I am Manju and I work as product engineer in Gojek. And I was introduced by this group by my brother, Jasmeet Singh.
Awesome. Awesome. Great to have you here. Okay, so who haven't introduced themselves? Praveen Sinha, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Can you introduce?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm Praveen. I'm an interaction designer. Right now, I'm in Delhi, freelancer.
Awesome. I see. Mike, can you hear me now?
Hey, yeah, I can.
Hi, Mike. How are you? If you can
Hi.
introduce yourself.
Yes, I'm just getting into it, but yeah. Hello, everyone. I'm Mike. That's me in short. I I'm mostly into like creative. I work as a creative developer in this company Timler, which I've co-founded with Natasha, who's a generative artist. So I come from a very technical background, so we try to merge art and code. Like that's our jam right now.
Yeah, awesome. Great to have you here. So
Thanks.
Drew joined. Hi, Drew. How are you doing?
Good. I,
Hi.
let me see here.
Okay.
I just there was a open source conference in called the FOSS North that just wrapped up for the day, so it was cool to see that this was going on.
Yeah, it went online, so I was supposed to be there.
Yeah. The last talk was from Ron Minitz about how Linux boots up, which was pretty interesting. He was showing the code that goes and boots up, that goes into the init system. It was pretty neat. Should all be up online once they finish editing the video.
Awesome. So maybe you can also introduce yourself. A lot of people here don't know you.
Yeah, I'm Drew Festini. I'm in Berlin right now, in Germany, and I like doing embedded Linux projects. Work a lot with BeagleBone, and more recently started playing around with Linux on RISC-V. So I have a couple inexpensive dev boards with that, and also some FPGA boards where you can run a RISC-V softcore. So that's kind of what I've been playing around with recently.
Awesome. Yeah, so most of the folks here are from India, and most of them are part of a community group called India Linux User Group Delhi and
Awesome.
Hardware Hackers Club Delhi. So stop by if you are on a trip to India, and would love to host you. A couple of weeks back, we were hanging out with Mitch Altman, who's there.
Yeah.
And yeah, have fun. So, okay, I see Girish Sarwal waiting in the line. Hi, Girish, just let you in. Can you hear me?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, but we cannot see you.
Just give me a second. I'm just setting up some stuff.
Sure. Awesome. So we're also doing a live stream on YouTube. So if anyone has any issues, maybe they can turn off their cameras if they want. But yeah, just to let you know. So we're also on YouTube. And let's start with the show and tell. And let's like talk about what people are up to. And so we have one yesterday, a meetup on Jitsi, on Google eMeets. And yeah, that stretched out for like 3 hours, more than 3 hours. And that was fun. So we have people from Delhi, we have from Patna, we have from Drew from Germany, and Sophie's also there from New York. So, yep. Anyone wanna go for show and tell? Yep, we have people from Mumbai as well. So yeah, maybe let's start with the show and tell. Manav, I think you have something for show and tell. Would you like to share with everyone?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
So, should I just start?
Yeah, sure.
So, this is an year-old project I worked upon, but I did not apparently show it to anyone at that point in time. So, I thought it would be a good idea to bring it here. So, can you see the circuit diagram? Circuit.
Yeah, we can see that.
So, yeah, so this is a very simple basic smartwatch I made, which consists of a display, an HC05 module, and currently it's being powered by an Uno. But the day I made it, I used a micro. Apart from that, right now, unfortunately, I cannot show you the demo since I short circuited my OLED display and learned that it does not have any apparent short circuit protection.
No
So that's
problem.
something. And I was really bummed out I cannot get out and get another one. So I can show you some images. Would that be fine?
Yeah, sure. Please go ahead. But I'm not really sure if you can share screen. So we have disabled screen sharing because of maybe I can just
Can I try?
yeah, maybe you can
Yeah, host disabled participant screen sharing.
Just give me a sec. I just quickly see it here. Can you try now?
Yeah, I can. It works. So let me just. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, so I have. This is what the final image looked like. This was a very generic mobile app I made to go with this. This I made using MIT App Inventor, I believe. And this was the display. So this is the Arduino Pro Mini right here, along with the small LiPo battery and HC05. This is the circuit diagram. So the Pro Mini with.
I don't see a circuit diagram here. I just see this 9 o'clock thing written.
Can you now?
Nope.
Still not.
So I see 9 o'clock and 3 triangles.
Why is that happening? Let me check.
Could it be that the different
Just a second.
multiple monitors? It might be that another monitor has been screen shared.
I think there is something wrong with screen sharing.
I think in the screenshot you have to choose a specific window.
Can you see it now?
Nope.
Not even a single part of my display is visible.
Nope.
Just that 9 o'clock is.
Yeah, just the 9 o'clock wallpaper thing is visible.
Okay, so that is weird.
Maybe you can send me the pictures and I'll share it.
Yeah. So that's it. If I can, if I can't show you, so it says host disabled participant screen sharing now.
Okay, so I see a lot of people in the waiting room. I'm not sure if should add them or not. They have this display picture of some walls. What do you say, Drew?
Oh, so I think I at least see one fake account because this has been happening to us on Friday and Saturday. These people joining, which is why we had to disable the screen sharing. But
yeah,
Yeah, maybe ask everyone to introduce yourself, like if that's possible.
Yeah, I think let's do that.
You can also, I believe we discovered yesterday with Dishepu that you can force all the mics to mute except the person you want to speak, because we would have random people join and try
Yeah,
and
so
mess
I'll
with it.
add them, and if there is some disruption, we'll just mute and kick them.
Yeah.
All right.
What's up, niggers?
There we go.
What? That's bro. It's not. Isn't this the hacker?
There we go. I'm gonna remove that. Okay, we're good for now. So,
My name is Ben Dover, and I'm an alcoholic.
okay.
There we go again.
You're gonna go out again. Crumbly Potato, if you can introduce yourself. Not sure.
They are on mute.
Remove probably.
Yeah. Okay, I think we're good for now, and we can continue with show and tell. Okay, so what else we have? So I'm gonna share one of my project which I'm working on. So I need to share my screen for that, and hopefully I can do that. So there are people coming in and it's flooded. Can you folks see my screen?
Yep.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just gonna open my. Just give me a second, I'm just setting up. Okay, so can you see that?
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go. So I'm working on this small project here. So this is a Grand Central by Adafruit, and this is a Circuit Python compatible board. This is the equivalent for Arduino Mega 2560, but this one has a more powerful chip, AD7051, with a lot of flash memory. And I've connected this here some rotary encoders, as you can see. So these are optical rotary encoders cheaply available. So the idea here is there is a hardware which maybe I can show you. So this is just gonna disconnect the internet here. Yeah, there we go. So photography is one of my other hobbies, and if you know about photo editing, there's a tool called Adobe Lightroom, which has been used widely. So this is the small hardware which you can purchase off the shelf. And my idea is to make an open source version kind of it. So this is called Loop Deck, and it has a lot of different knobs and buttons and whatnot. And this you can use to control Adobe Lightroom. So if I show you the Adobe Lightroom, so this is the UI, how it looks like. And on the right side, you have all the different functions of exposure, contrast, highlights, and using this tool, you can control them, and it cost a bit much for what I wanted to do. So I wanted to make an open source replacement kind of thing for that. So this is what I have for now, but I also gonna extend it and have a 3D printed case around it. So the initial idea was to have a couple of pots and map it to the HID, human interface keyboard key tabs, but that was not working for some reason. So Adobe is not having some keyboard shortcut which you can register for these things, because these are the linear tabs. So I found an open source plugin here. It's called MIDI to LR, MIDI to Lightroom. So this is an open source plugin. The idea for making this plugin is so people have a lot of MIDI controllers, right? Which also looks like what I just showed you, the Adobe Loop Deck. So this plugin, what it does, it takes MIDI input from those controllers and convert it to the tabs which I showed you here. So if you have this control change command, you can use that to control exposure or whatever features you can provide here. So basically what I'm doing with my hardware over here is I'm sending control chain MIDI commands over USB and using Circuit Python. And I'm using this plugin to talk to the Lightroom. So it's feeding in the MIDI, and this is controlling the Adobe Lightroom. So I'm just gonna show you how it all registers. So this is a USB MIDI monitor online. So if I just quickly turn a couple of knobs, you can see that it is doing a control change command, channel 4, 0 to 127. On the Adobe Lightroom side, I'll show you how it works. So this is the MIDI to LR. This is my Adobe, and on the left is my hardware. So if I do some changes here, let's see at this one. So you can see on the right, my highlights is increasing or decreasing based on what I'm doing the input. Similarly, on this one, I have controlled the saturation. And on this one, I have controlled the exposure. And similarly, you can do whatever you want with that one. Also, these small rotary encoders have a switch. So if you press that, you can also do something else. Like if I press that, I reset my exposure. So that is something which you can also do. So this is a small project. It is in a very nascent state as of now. So just a proof of concept for now, but the plan is to later extend it and have a good case around it, and then open source it and share it with the world. So yeah, that was my project.
So I was at Adobe a couple of years ago. So I'm just curious, is that plugin using CCP panel? Like there's a Chrome extension panel where you can get access to the native application through JavaScript.
I'm not actually very sure. So I just found if there is any open source plugin which can interact with the Adobe Lightroom, and I found this one. So I'm not really sure how it's doing internally. But there is a guide by Adobe which allows you to make custom plugins. So I'm not sure how it's using in the backend, but definitely, since you have worked there, you may be knowing what exactly they're using.
No, yeah, like most of the plugins are built upon JavaScript. So there is basically an internal Chrome engine, like a Chromium engine, which boots up whenever you run an Adobe product, and that's where all the plugins operate. And they have like a API for all the native functions through that. So maybe that's what. So there might be some web USB thing happening. I'm just curious. I don't know. I'm just making it up right now. So maybe someone from Adobe would be better
Yeah,
placed.
sure, maybe. And this is a complete open source plugin. So, and this is quite in active development. So they are doing the releases constantly and taking feedbacks very well. So yeah, maybe they're using that. I'm gonna check the code and maybe get back to you if you want.
Also, I'm curious, how are you deciding which hardware thing? I'm just coming from like more on the user, like I'm an HCI interaction designer like Praveen as well. So I'm just curious why you chose rotary dials versus something like a slider.
Yeah, so I can use potentiometer with that. The thing with potentiometer is since they're analog and they are more prone to wear and tear over the time, and mapping the value of potentiometer to MIDI is quite easy, and people have done that in the past. But I just wanted something long-term thing. So also since the 10K potentiometer, which commonly used, they have this minimum range. You can use that. So this one is. You can pick it from anywhere, and for example, so if you're using this MIDI, I'll show you. So if you're using this MIDI, you can start anywhere and you can stop anywhere, right? Just like the volume knobs in your car. But on the potentiometer, if it's in a midway, it's exactly giving that value to the software. So you cannot pick it from wherever it is. This is basically it's you can start from anywhere, and whenever you left it, it's the origin again. But on the potentiometer, it is giving some value for the voltage at every instant. So more work on software side.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thanks.
Yeah. Sure. So who else we have here? I see Girish Sarwal sir. Hi Girish, how are you doing? Maybe you can talk about your projects next. You are on mute, so if you can mute.
Also, and just a sec, Abhinay is probably in the waiting room. Can you please let him in? He's just pinged on the Telegram chat.
I don't see him. I don't see him. Maybe you can ask him to join again, and I'll add him.
Also, after Girish Sarwal, Sound Codes is actually trying to show something. I guess. So,
yeah, sure.
After Girish Sarwal, Sound Codes.
Girish, we cannot hear you as of now. I will rejoin. Okay, fine. Yeah, so sound codes. Akash, maybe you can go next for show and tell.
Cool. So I shift my camera view.
Sure.
Is it visible and with my sound?
Yeah. So we can see some potentiometers there. Yeah.
Cool. So right now, I think the sound is routed through my microphone. I will try to shift it to the sound card. But anyway, I wanted to show this thing. This is like 8 knobs. It's essentially 8 knobs, 8 ports. It's built on Arduino, like ETMAG 32U4. I'll try to shift the sound.
Yeah, we hear sound. Is that like a MIDI synth?
Oh yes, it's so. This is like a because it's ETMAG 32U4. You can put whatever you want. Like you want 8 knobs to do something in 0 to 123. It sends those things like either convert 0 to 5 volts to use it with your modular, or use USB and like send MIDI data to it. So I made 2 of them. Right? One is this tiny desktop unit. And I also made the Eurorack unit. So tiny 4 HP unit.
Is that something you made as well?
Huh? Oh yes.
Okay.
So right now, what you're hearing is kind of simulation of the Indian drone instrument Tanpura, like how the physically Tanpura as a drone resonates and modulates over time. Here, it's using the same physicality of this drone instrument, but instead of like Tanpura is restricted to the number of strings and the tension based on the strings. So that's ultimately your frequency range. Here, you can simulate that physicality, but over the entire frequency spectrum.
Yeah, so Soundproofs, what was the total cost like for making this?
My VOM, I think, is 1600 rupees or something.
Yeah,
Probably
so
3 euros
60.
kind of thing.
That is cheap and that is nice.
So I believe you're also doing a crowdfunding campaigning around it, right?
At the moment, yes. This is right now on Indiegogo. So yeah, I'm. So the desktop unit you saw like this. Is it visible?
Yeah.
So this thing is like the key for the crowdfund because these are limited and I built like only 100 of them. So post this, my focus would be entirely on like DIY kit or the modular unit. Because
Awesome.
I see this as like a maximum easy way to jump into creative coding and also like understand fundamentals of like basics of electronics and basics of synthesis. Like how do you choose your passives? What like simple things like a RC filter or like what are waveforms? What does a filter does to a waveform? How do you uh, create an envelope for a waveform? Like so, all these things start making sense if and only if the individual has no idea of what happening. So my thinking is, I feel like electronics, sound, and computer codes. It's all one. Like essentially, it's just different grammar we end up using in all these three domains. But end of the day, the core is transmitting information from point A to point B. This can be creating a filter or adding a EQ to the sound or like adding some Boolean logic to data or like adding some passives or like whatever. So the whole idea is, irrespective of the grammar used, like this notion of signal flow is one, and one need not be like one can jump in disciplines.
Yeah, sure. So maybe you can also send the links to the write-up and all the photos to tips@hackaday.com. And Sophie wants to see some projects from here and they can publish it and also put your link. So it's a tips@hackaday.com. I'll just put it on the chat. So you have documentation of it, you can send there and they'll write about that.
Super, super. That's awesome.
I see someone from a meeting. No, I'm not sure if should add them or not. So let's see. Ambika is in. Ambika, can you hear us?
Yeah, I'm in.
Hi, how are you doing? How are you
I'm
holding
good.
quarantine?
Arey, don't ask. No comments.
Okay, so maybe Girish can go next for show and tell.
Thanks, Ayan. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Sorry for that snag. I don't know, something happened with my, probably it's got corona in my headphones.
No worries.
Yeah,
So
thanks.
I'll start with a couple of projects that I'm working on, which I kind of demoed yesterday on the short call that we had. So I'll start with the joystick transmitter that I had made some time back. This is basically an RC transmitter that works on a 3D joystick. And I'm sorry, they're not in working condition, any one of them, but yes, there's one project I'll show you which is in working condition. Just take you through this quickly. This was written on Atmega 8. It supports 4 analog channels and one digital channel. So basically, it's just a simple PPM generator, but I removed all the ports and hooked it up to the 3D transmitter to this joystick that I bought off eBay. And so that's one of the projects. It's got a throttle channel here. It's got 3 channels from the main stick, and it's got a digital channel here, which I essentially use for which can be used for moving any servos. I've got some videos of this on the internet, so maybe I'll probably send those videos later on. They're on my channel. So this was the version that was on Atmega 8. Now the second version of the same thing was this, which is a little different. It's more like a Hotus controller. So it's got 3 control channels on the using a CCTV joystick, and it's got a throttle on the left for to get the nice flying experience. I've tested this on the field with a small plane. It did work, and it was pretty exciting. But there's still some snags in it that I need to figure out, that I need to fix. It also has a trainer port at the back. So basically, what I did was it works off a Atmega 2560, and I designed this board, this shield essentially. The shield sits on top of the Atmega board, and then once it sits here, a lot of all the we call it a rat's nest. All the rat's nest that you see here kind of wires up onto the main board, and the PPM that comes out of the system is fed into RF module, which essentially sends it out to the receiver on the airplane. It also has a couple of 5-way navigation switches, which I'm using as flip switches. So I don't know if you guys can see clearly, but there are some boards from SparkFun that I used. Now these on the front side, they're right here, which I can use as trim switches to trim my airplane while it's in the air. So this was another project that I was working on. I'm sorry, I just opened it up to fix some things, and I did not get a chance to fix it back for you guys to have a look. I'll probably send out some photos later on. The other project which I showed you yesterday was the 3D rudder pedal that I'm working on. So I just showed you one side of the channel yesterday. This is how both the channels sit, and here are the pedals that go in there. This gets connected to a standard USB game controller to feed the values into one of my games, which I can use as a simulator for flying. So that's the third project that I've kind of it needs to be worked on. So those are the 3 things. And by the way, yesterday I had asked a question regarding one of those libraries. So I spent some time today, and I have the library working. So I can show that to you guys if anyone's interested.
Maybe you can just give a small summary about them who were not yesterday, and then we can.
Cool.
Yeah.
So guys, I had come up with a small data terminal, which essentially looks like this. So this is a small wireless data terminal that I wanted to that can actually send a string of 0 and 1 based on the state of digital channels. So you hook up a digital channel connected to anything in your home, and it grabs that data and sends it back to a server, so you can have a complete feed of how something is, how channels are switching on any device. So the problem that I was running into this was I also had a inquiry from a manufacturing firm, and they were pretty interested in doing in using this to monitor their manufacturing. So this turned out to be more or less a product now, where I can where this can be installed for small and medium enterprises who are into manufacturing. So the problem that I was really running into yesterday was that this unit generates a lot of logs, and the logs can be really massive. So typical logs are like, which we are pushing in about 2 MB of data every hour. And we had no way, since these are going to be placed at remote locations, we had no way of going to those locations and getting the logs. So we thought that why not just actually send the logs back to the server. Now, when we did that, I realized that at times when the connectivity fails, the log never reaches the server. So I was looking for a library wherein I could really ship those logs directly. I could actually store them on the local machine till I get till I get connectivity, and once the connectivity is back, the logs could be shipped back to the server. Unfortunately, I did not find anything on the internet, and whatever I found was, I found some pieces of code, but they were not really complete to what I wanted to do. So I took the task of writing such a small plugin for Arduino, wherein you just initiate the logger, and the logger works as a stream. So you just write to the logger, and what it will do is that it will keep on accumulating the log on the local machine, and then it also gives you a way of informing your program as to when the log has changed and whatever you wish to do with the log. So you can list all the logs that you want on that are on the device. You can dump everything on the file system, and you can process them like you want to. So I was able to finish that code this morning, and I could demo that if that's something you guys would like to see.
Sure.
So let me.
You wrote your own library for that?
Yeah, I kind of wrote it. I kind of wrote it in the code, but right now it's in my main code. But I'll take it out as a library and open source it.
Awesome.
So let me just share my screen. Sorry guys, give me just a second. I'll have to.
Yeah, sure. Maybe
go back on Zoom. Maybe somebody else can present in the meanwhile.
So hi, I see Omega. Hi, maybe you can introduce yourself and talk about your project. You are on mute, so if you can unmute and.
Actually, I just joined this meeting by knowing through the Twitter, so I haven't done any project regarding this, but actually knowing to get to know about how you guys are doing on these things.
No worries. Yeah, you can hang out here.
Thanks.
Awesome.
So, Ayan, I'm ready. If you want me to, if you can let me share my screen. Actually, so this is what you see on the screen on the breadboard is essentially the same thing, but as a test equipment. There's an ESP8266 on that. It's actually Node MCU, but ultimately we are planning to use the ESP07, which is the smaller cousin of this, and this too just has 1 MB of flash memory, which we have to manage somehow. So, Ayan, if you could let me share. Yeah. I've just printed with my computer. If you could let me share that.
Yeah, sure. I just let everyone can now share screen.
Okay, super. Let me know when you guys can see my screen.
Yeah, it's visible.
Yeah, we can see that.
Okay, sorry, I'm on a Windows terminal right now, so on a Linux meetup. But anyways, so here is the library that I quickly wrote inside Arduino. There's just a header and the CPP right now, but here is what it can do.
If it's possible, can you please zoom in a bit?
Oh, sorry about that. Give me just a second. I'll just change my screen, guys. Does this work well? Works better?
Yeah.
I was talking about the code, but yeah, that's fine. Yeah, it looks good now. Yeah.
Super. So what I did here was that I basically inherited the stream class, which is the base class for many of the other other stuff like serial and like file system on Arduino. And I wrote in a couple of functions. So the way it works here is that if I connect to my serial monitor, now everything is being logged to the log file. It's not being written on serial right now. And if I reboot my device right now, you see that the latest log file it shows is device.log.sig. Essentially, the end user or the programmer essentially just needs to give the name of the file that he intends to have on his machine. So he just says I want it to be called device.log or whatever, my device.dat or whatever he wants to put in, and all the numbers get appended automatically. So if you look at COM7, if you look at the serial input right now, the current log file is device.log.6, and if I reboot my thing right now, so it's gone back to one round. So that rotation is already in place, and I can actually see whatever files I have on my device by giving in a serial command. So it says, you have these files right now on your machine. And if I try to dump all of them, then it tells me that these are the sizes of all the files, and this is the current file that's being written to. So you see the size is 1520 right now, and if I do it after a little while, the size will change. So that's the size that has changed.
Yeah.
Now, what the programmer can really do is that he can actually, when he starts the system, he defines that, I want to have a logger which has a queue of 8 files, and each file is these many bytes in size. So this is 32 KB right now, but I've put in support for like a UN32, so you can go up to like 2 megs really, or 4 megs really. And all you have to do is that you can just initialize the logger like this. The second thing you do is wherever you are putting in your stuff, or wherever you are going to be logging stuff, you can directly log to that variable instead of printing it into another constant character and then trying to log it. So let me show you some stuff here. So when I perform a particular HTTP GET, then I'm logging everything directly to that logger now. So this supports all the print writes, all the serial writes, all the writes that you have in the Arduino library. So you could use a println, you could use a print, you could use a printf, whatever you want. Let me show you. I also have printf there somewhere. So here you can actually use printf to put in formatted strings, and everything out of this gets logged to each of those files based on whatever is the current file. In your main code, what one can really do is that one can, give me just a second. So basically, I can just say, if I pass in a command D, then just dump whatever is on the system. Elsewise, if it's S, then you create a 2D array and you pass it to the list method, and you fill in this array with the number of files that you have, and you can iterate through them. If you want, you can upload them, whatever you wish to do with those files. So that's what I have done since yesterday, and well, it seems to be working right now. Oh, there was another functionality. If I hit a P, if I give a P command, it will essentially purge all the log files.
Okay.
So what it does is that it will purge the log files, and it will not purge everything on the flash memory. It will look for files that match that particular pattern, which has been specified by the programmer here, and then it will only purge the files that match that pattern. So let me just try to purge the files. It says, all right, I've purged everything. Current log device is log 1, so I won't purge that. And now if I try to dump all the files, then it tells me, these are the files that you have on the system. This is the current log marked by an asterisk. So that's what I've really done since yesterday, and it seems to be working right now.
Awesome. So one question: how are you checking if you are still connected to the internet or not?
So essentially, that this guy doesn't do that. The logger is not supposed to do that. The logger is only supposed to rotate the logs, right? That really happens in the callee in the caller function, not the callee. In the caller function, where I basically, before doing anything, I check whether my client is still active or not. If the client is not active, then I'm disconnected and I just return out the function. But what happens is that if I return out of the function, the log is not lost, because that log is actually on the local machine, and the next cycle, the moment it gets an internet connection, I'll try to re-upload. So it's basically polling.
Awesome. Yeah. Totally. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing this.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Yep. So next, maybe we can do Samarth.
Yeah. Just one sec. So would it be possible for me to share my screen?
Yeah, no, you can share now.
Okay, cool. Just one sec. Why am I not seeing the option?
There should be a green button in the middle if you can see. Share screen.
And I was on a different window.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we see that.
Cool. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, we do.
Okay. So yeah, hi everyone. I'm a UX designer. Do generative art on the side. Saw the invite by Anne on one of our groups where we hosted PCD Delhi. I work mostly on the software side, so all the cool stuff you guys are building, it's like going over the top for me. But yeah, I'll just share some of the little bit software bits I try to embed in randomly relying around tablets and hardware. That's what I will be doing right now. Oops. So yeah, previously I was working at Adobe, as I mentioned earlier, in their AI machine learning team, just building custom user interfaces. And then the few of the things I built there. But on the side, what this allowed me to do was to explore generative art. So I just started doing a lot of P5 things, random animations and things. And so just figuring out how I can express in a different manner through code. Also trying to make it more interactive through webcam and other things. So these are things which I want to explore and bring it out into the real world using hardware somewhere down the line. One initial exploration was I got this plotter kit and then assembled it all together and exported SVGs. So it's just basically it takes in SVG through Inkscape, and then it's in basically a clone of AxiDraw. And so it's just trying to pull that through and make little blocks of things of the generative code I've been doing. So the project I'm going to talk about is this little desktop clock kind of thing I made. This is primarily from my grandmother. She has like a slight initial case for dementia, and so it becomes really hard for her to know what time of day it is and what date it is. So the inspiration came from this Al's store, which had a clock similar to this, but it was all English, and it would have been really hard for her to understand what's there, even if we got that. And it was like exorbitantly priced for something so simple. So it was something like $70 or something. So what happened? I had this Galaxy tablet. Oops. Okay. I had this Galaxy tablet lying around for a while, and what I did, I had tried loading Cyanogen and all those things to keep it up to date with the OS, because Samsung is infamous for all their OS updates. But being a web designer or anything, so I made this web app. The code is available on Glitch. The thing was, I didn't know like the pixels might burn if I keep it at the same text for a while. So what I tried to do was animate the text from the left edge to the right edge. So it starts at the center and then drift to the right edge. And when it hits that edge, moves back and forth so that the pixels don't burn. But apparently it still didn't work out. I think currently it's blurring a bit. What I've Googled out, it says the ribbon cable might have bent, being positioned in the same thing or something around that. So if you guys have some tips around that, it would be really helpful. They have these proprietary screws, so I'll have to get some special screwdriver to even open it up. But yeah, that's where this is. I used Noto font, which can allow me to export it to any other language as well. So that could be one way to like upgrade the code so that it can be used anywhere. And also because the display has to stay on, there was this caffeine app which allows you to do that, so you can have an always on screen. Apart from that, I didn't have a dock, so I also have a 3D printer. So I 3D printed a dock which I found on Thingiverse for this. I had to like modify a little for the device, and then once this was there, basically this.
Yeah, that's really cool.
So yeah, that's that. I also have got this old Philips photo frame, digital photo frame, and I want to open it up and see what all is in there, so I can hack it to embed this code in it. But I don't know what it powers it. So maybe if some of you guys are familiar with it, or someone has tried doing that in the past, maybe you can give me or two.
Just a suggestion, if your tablet or whatever this device is lying around, like only showing the time and date, maybe you can host something on it. Like I host Telegram bots and other kind of bots on my Raspberry Pi that is laying around. Maybe you can do that here, like if that's possible.
Sorry, what was this for?
You have this tablet, like you are just showing the time.
Right.
Yeah. So maybe you can utilize it more by hosting Telegram bots or anything else. Maybe a NAS on it.
Yeah. No, that's good. I currently haven't connected it to the internet, just my paranoia around it. But yeah, because it's like Cyanogen and everything, and I don't know what all is running on it, because it's super outdated.
And you don't want to give a clock to your grandma which is running 100 services behind it.
Yeah.
That's really cool though.
Another thing was I wanted to try e-ink. I don't know if that will be any better. Of course, I don't want to burn my Kindle for that. But I'm just figuring, because I found that e-inks are really expensive, e-ink displays, and that too with a back or like a front lit thing. But I don't know, just asking for suggestions how I can possibly work around this pixel burn issue I'm facing. Not the pixel burn, but the ribbon cable issue I'm facing. Or what displays are usually ideal. I've seen people used iPads for like 24/7 across months, years, and they're working fine, but maybe Samsung are not that robust.
So the thing with OLED display is, which is coming with iPhone and all. So if you have this complete black wallpaper, they won't use any LEDs to power it up. So that saves a lot of battery.
No, yeah, but battery is not an issue because I have got it plugged in for the entire day. What has happened is, I tried different backgrounds actually. I tried a different contrast. One thing which I tried was the color of the background changes with the time of day. So it shows like, okay, it's blue when it's sunrise, and then it gets like this gradient when it's sunset and all those things. hampers the legibility of the text. So I just made it full black so that the legibility comes first, and all the rest of the beauty of it is not that important.
Yeah, looks great. A lot of clock projects today. Some Manav showed one. Drew is still around. Maybe Drew, you can talk about what you are working on, and also maybe if you have that Open Hardware Summit badge handy, you can also show that as well.
Yeah, give me 1 second. I'm gonna go grab it. I'll be right back.
Sure. So Open Hardware Summit couldn't happen physically this time because of this Corona thing. So every year we have Open Hardware Summit by Open Hardware Association, and this year badge which Drew designed is a wearable badge which you can use as a watch. So we'll talk about it once he's back. So after him,
sorry guys, what was the going back to the gent who presented the clock? What was the exact issue that you were facing with the ribbon cable?
I'm not exactly sure. It's basically the blacks have now grayed out. Like there is some pixel distortion, like glitch effect kind of happening randomly when you reposition the tablet or something like that. And people said like the ribbon cable might have moved around, or like because it's standing in the same position, some awkward pressure might have been applied through the dock or something around that.
Okay, so if it were a ribbon cable issue, wouldn't that happen in normal operation as well?
And sorry, what?
I mean, if you just boot the tab into something else, boot the tab into the shell and not the clock, then that would be like a persistent issue all the time, no?
I'm not understanding. So you're saying reorient the thing?
No, I'm saying that if it were a ribbon cable issue, then it would happen in normal operation as well. You know, if the clock was not on. Does it happen all the time, or does it happen only when the clock?
Yeah, it happens all the time. It's not a software thing. So it's basically the display glitches, that glitch effect where it fades away and then the text duplicates with outlines and all. Maybe I can pull it out and show it.
Sure, don't worry about it. Like I think I see what you mean.
So anyone has actually designed some flexible circuit, Girish? Maybe you have flexible.
Sorry?
PCBs. Have you like worked with flexible PCBs and circuits?
No, I haven't really, you know, I've been caught up with other things. I haven't really followed up with the way.
And flexible circuit does copper tape counts, because I have done with that, like pasting copper tapes and like making circuits out of them on non-plane objects. Those works, but that's really not so good idea to do.
Yeah, that is like a temporary thing, but the flexible circuits are more like a entire circuit on ribbon cable like thing. So you have copper tracks going on over there. It's like a normal PCB, but it's flexible, so you can use it in some places like wearable tech and all.
Okay.
I've been like looking to design some flexible circuits. And
does it affect the I mean the reliability of a circuit, so to speak? I mean things like RF comms, etc.
I'm not really sure. So I don't know. So, but I've opened this old phone I have, Nexus 6P, and entire camera module is on the flexible circuit. So.
Okay.
Yes, and maybe I can ask Drew. So Drew also works with the Park, the PCB manufacturing. He's back. Okay. Yes, you can. Yes, Drew. So you can go next.
Oh, yeah. So this is the Open Hardware Summit wrist badge that we designed for the conference, which was supposed to happen in New York like 2 weeks ago. Anul had helped us. It was designed in KiCad. Was it Nordic NRF 52840, the one that's supported by CircuitPython? So it's actually running CircuitPython on it. So let me plug it in here. I forget what I had on it last. I think it's just running a little like demo menu. Don't know how well that can focus, but it's a little selector menu. So the idea is people can write CircuitPython apps and put them onto the wrist badge. Kind of momentum slowed down a little bit because all the badges are in New York at university there. So we have to wait for it to reopen before we can get them shipped out to people. But the project is all up on github.io. I'll put a link in the chat. And the other thing that I've been playing with is is an FPGA dev board called the Orange Crab. I don't know if anyone's seen this one yet. So this is a feather form factor board. Greg Davil in Australia designed this one. It has the ECP5 FPGA, which is supported by open source toolchain. So you don't have to just install proprietary software for it. And it has a large enough FPGA and enough memory that it can run Linux. So I have this one set up to run Linux on a RISC-V core, and was just messing around with it to get, there's an RGB LED, and you can set up a driver in Linux to be able to PWM the RGB LED. So that's what I was playing around with most recently. The previous board I'd been using was the Hackaday Super Conference badge, but that only had 32 megabytes of SD RAM, which is not a whole lot. This one has 128 megabytes of DDR, which is much faster. So we should be able to do more with it in terms of running Linux. I don't have it here with me, but there is also, if you want to get started with RISC-V and Linux, there's an inexpensive microcontroller board with a chip called the Kendrite K210. I'll throw a link in there. But this board you can get it from Seed. It's only $13. So if you wanted to try playing around with Linux on RISC-V, this is one way to do it. The SciPede board. It only has 8 megabytes of RAM, so it's not a lot, but it can run Linux. And then this Orange Crab board is crowdfunding right now. It's all open source hardware. Have any of you been playing around with RISC-V at all?
Can you please put the link of that FPGA board, like Amazon link or something? Oh, you have put it.
Yeah. Yeah, so that one's on GroupGets right now. And I'm excited. If you look on, I'll post the link, but if you look on Greg Davil's Twitter, he's been most recently playing around with an LCD, like over SPI, I think, hooked up to this, so we could use it as a display. Like with the Hackaday badge, we were able to get it to have like a terminal on the LCD, but it wasn't fast. The memory wasn't fast enough because it was only 8-bit wide SD RAM. It wasn't fast enough to have a full frame buffer, but this one should be. So hopefully we'll have some wings hooked up to it and have a Linux frame buffer with it. But if anyone's wanting to play around with RISC-V, probably the most accessible thing right now, that the CNEX software link that I pasted in shows how to get Linux running on this $13 board. So that's a nice thing to play around with. The one downside to the FPGAs is the softwares don't run particularly fast, and the boards are generally more expensive because they're FPGAs. So this SciPede board with the Kendrite chip is a good compromise. So I don't have it with me here, but there's really nice instructions you can go through to get Linux boot on it and running BusyBox. One of the versions of the board, it's $40, and it has a ESP on it. So someone was trying to get it working, so you'd actually have networking from Linux on it.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, so the little one's called the Max Bit. So this chip is actually a dual 200 megahertz. Dual 400 megahertz 64-bit RISC-V chip. The only negative to it is that it doesn't have external memory, so it only has 8 megabytes of SRAM, which is a lot for a microcontroller, but not a lot for Linux. But some people finally got Linux booting on it, so you can play around with it. You can also run Linux, RISC-V Linux with like QEMU, but it's not quite as exciting. So if you have a way to order things from seed, that's a good one to play around with, I think.
So I think I've successfully once built Yocto Open Embedded for RISC-V like 3 months back. Not really sure. So it was supposed to be used as a co-processor with the main IMX8 processor. The function of it is to support the trust chain management by Opti. So it's like doing crypto handshakes and making sure that the images are signed before booting and all.
Nice. Which chip was that?
I'm not really sure. I need to check back. I'll get back to you. So it came on the reference board itself. So it's meant for a automotive application, and
okay.
Yeah. So
Drew, I have a question.
Yeah.
Has anybody tried running an RT kernel on this, preempt or any other patch?
On RISC-V?
Sorry?
don't. You mean with RISC-V?
Yes.
I've not seen anyone yet talk about RT preempt. The thing also is there's not a whole lot of hardware available yet, so that can run Linux. So there's the only like real hardware there was this Sci-Fi had this Unleashed board that was a quad core 64-bit RISC-V, but that was $1,000 and they only made like a couple hundred of them. So this Kendrite one is like the first piece of hardware that's like kind of generally available. So that would be interesting. And with RT preempt, it's usually only certain kernels they do the patch set against. So we'd have to have like the overlap there between kernel that supported this Kendrite K210 and one that they've based the RT preempt patch set on, which I don't think's been done yet because this Kendrite stuff was all done on top of 5.6. So I haven't seen anyone yet, but I think, once more RISC-V hardware comes out, I think that'll be hopefully get done. It would be interesting.
I love the form factor of the device. So, I think if we could use it in some other applications, besides being just a wearable.
Yeah. I can also check. There's for the FPGA soft cores running Linux. There's a couple like active IRC channels. One is LIDX that I hang out on. So I'm not sure if anyone has, but I can ask on there. For the most part, everyone's just kind of been trying to bootstrap and get Linux running. So I've not seen anyone really focused on latency yet, but I'm sure that will come as it becomes more popular.
Sure.
I think a lot of things happening around RISC-V, and the architecture will mature and a lot of things will automatically start happening thanks to the open nature. And I've also read that I'm not sure WD or Seagate has planned on replacing their entire line based on around RISC-V.
Yeah, it's Western Digital. They're one of the big players when it comes to RISC-V, especially the Linux stuff. So they have a small team that's working on it, doing Linux kernel work, bootloader work, QEMU work. So they're very active. I would say most of the support for RISC-V and Linux kernel has been done thus far by Western Digital, and then also this startup called Sci-Fi, which was started by the people at Berkeley that originally did the Sci-Fi ISA or the RISC-V ISA. So yeah, it's amazing how much Western Digital's really invested in RISC-V and has people working on Linux kernel even. So looks like they're fully invested in it, which is cool. I don't think they have anything out yet, but I think like in a generation or two of their drives, they'll all be RISC-V based. The little controllers in them, that is. In terms of us having like what I would love to like I'm involved with beagleboard.org, and I would love to have like a RISC-V beaglebone or something like that. But in order for that to happen, we need there to be a like a decent system on chip to come out. So right now the best hope for that is NXP's working on an IMX style RISC-V core. So I'll post a link in here, but essentially it's like an IMX6 with a RISC-V core instead of an ARM core. So if it's just a test chip right now that they're working on, but I think if it works out, they're supposed to have the test chip done by like the end of this year. And I think if that works out, then hopefully maybe next year we could see a decent performance system on chip that you could actually build like a decent single board computer around. And I think that's what we'll really need for Linux to get going on RISC-V, because right now there's this Kendrite board, which is nice because it's inexpensive, but it's very limited, and everything else is either like very expensive boards or just like research chips. So every time I talk to anyone involved, I'm always trying to see like, when are we going to have a chip that we could make an affordable board with, like a $100-ish board. So I think this NXP Open Hardware Group chip might be a good way. I'll post the link in here. So it's NXP working with this new group called the Open HW Group. So if you take a look at that link, like it'll be a pretty nice chip, I think. It even has the GPU on it that's supported by the Etnaviv driver, so it'll have 3D graphics that are supported in mainline Linux kernel. So I think this will be exciting. Right now, it's just like they're hoping to have the test chip done by the end of this year. So maybe sometime next year we could actually have like an affordable single board computer. And then I think once that happens, we'll see lots of interesting things happen.
That's true. Yep.
So with India, there is this interesting project. I think it's called Shakti or something like that.
Shakti processor.
Yes. Yeah. Do you know of anyone involved in that?
Yeah, so there are people mostly from the Bangalore side, that is a bit south from where we come, and a good team is working on that Shakti processor, and they were successful in porting the RTOS as well as a fork of the mainline Linux so far, last I talked to them. And there is a kernel meetup which is going to happen in next 2 weeks, where they will be also sharing more about the current status with RISC-V. So
cool.
I'll invite you to that one if that's a virtual one. So
yeah, that'd be awesome. And also with RISC-V, there's 2 meetups, virtual meetups that are happening now. So one for San Francisco Bay Area in April, and then one in Munich in April. So I don't know, probably California time is not great for India, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
But the one in Munich might be better for you. I'll post the link in here. So it's going to be at the end of April. There'll be couple presentations.
Sure, that'll be great, and I'll forward it to the Shakti working group so they can also join in if they're interested too.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. And had a meeting recently with some other people that are trying to start RISC-V meetups. So I think there's interest around the world.
Yeah, there is.
People.
I think only last week there was a meetup of Rust and RISC-V together.
Yeah, so like the nice thing with everything being virtual is we can participate in things that are geographically different places. So yeah, that'd be awesome. So which city is there a kernel meetup in?
Bangalore.
Bangalore. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks for sharing the links. Okay, so maybe Mike, you can talk about what you've been working on lately.
Yeah, hi. Can you guys hear me well?
Yeah, we can.
Awesome. So hello everyone. I'm Mike. That's my short name. I come from a hardware background. So much of the things are a bit relevant, but then yeah, of course, the guys here, uh, the level you guys are working at is like quite in depth. Respect that. Further, back in college, I used to do a lot of like music stuff. As in, I've always been motivated in that way. One of the things which I tried to do along the same lines was where one of my friend was a guitarist, and for a hackathon over a night, I tried to figure out if we could do something. If we could control something over guitar tones. Simply put, he was playing music. I was trying to analyze what he was playing and trying to control like a robot. So that's the sort of things I generally do, where I like to mix around, both hardware and software elements to make something which you wouldn't have seen. So I mean, it could bring out like a new approach. So it's in this specific like hackathon back in college, I was trying to connect the guitar and then trying to do some analysis on it, like audio 50, and figure out the notes and then control a robot. So by controlling a robot and just adding a pen in front of it, right, I was able to like draw different patterns on like a paper, which was controlled by music. So I mean, those are the sort of things which fascinate me. Yeah, and more recently, I mean, since for me hardware availability was a bit hinged, especially for these kind of creative projects. The market here wasn't like completely ready, so we switched more towards software, and we have a studio named Timler. If it's possible, I'll do a quick screen share and talk about what are the sort of things we've been playing around with music. Yeah. Ian, you'll have to.
Sure. Let me just.
Sure. Awesome.
Yes, maybe you can try now.
Yep.
Yeah, we can see your screen.
Can you?
Yep.
And how about this? So there's our website, which is Timler. We play around.
You can see the background as of now.
Okay. Then I'll have to allow. You'll have to give me a minute.
Sure, no issues.
Sure. I'm literally digging into the security preferences and enabling this right now.
Oh yeah, that's a Mac thing.
Mac. Yeah.
As well. Yeah. So it's
I'm gonna try again.
Yeah, it's with the recent update of Catalina.
Yeah, I hate that. Like most of my apps have stopped working since the upgrade. But how about now? Is it any better?
We can see the wallpaper as of now.
Okay.
But not anything other than that.
Okay, I think I have these options. Do you think someone else can like move forward while
Yeah, sure. So I'll let the permission as it is, so you can try and share the screen, and by the time maybe just Meet can go next and talk about his project. Jasmeet, are you there?
Yes, hello.
Yeah, hi, we can hear you.
Hello everyone. My name is Jasmeet, and I made a project some time back, which was inspired from the Harry Potter movies, and from there's a Universal Studios in Japan where people can buy wands like these from the shops and can perform magical things in some places by performing gestures with the wand. So my brother brought one of those wands home when he went to Japan, so I decided to make my own version of that project. So the main part of the project was this wand, which had a retro reflector at the tip of the wand. So the work of this retro reflector is that it can reflect light parallel to the way it is coming from. So it can be easily detected with the help of a camera. So the camera which I used was the no IR camera, no IR Pi camera, for which I designed a 3D model of this LED ring, which has infrared LEDs. When the infrared light from these LEDs fall on the retro reflector, all of the light is reflected back into the camera, and a white blob is seen in the video, which is very easy to track. So when the person will move the wand, by tracking the path of the wand, and we can detect or predict the letters which are drawn with the help of machine learning, and accordingly we can perform activities. For example, I trained a machine learning model to detect if the drawn letter was letter A or letter C, and accordingly, if the letter was A, then I commanded the Raspberry Pi to open a box, and if the letter was C, then it automatically closes the box. And the tracking was done with the help of OpenCV. Um, I can just share my screen and show the video of the wand working.
Yeah, that sounds really cool.
So can you see the video?
Yep.
So here is the video where I am drawing the letter A with the wand, and there's a green dot here, which is the starting dot, and there's a red dot here, which is the ending dot. So when I begin drawing the letter from that green dot and end it on the red dot, the box automatically opens as the letter A is detected.
Awesome.
Similarly, when I draw the letter C beginning from the green dot and ending at the red dot, the letter C is detected and the box automatically closes.
Awesome. So have you the code, or you still keeping it?
No, I have open sourced the code. I have written an article about it on hackster.io, and also on Instructables, and the code is also available on GitHub.
Really awesome. So
And
can you just mail it to tips@hackerday.com, please? So maybe we can also post it on Hackerday, and this is really cool.
yeah, sure, I'll share the link. And also, I wanted to get some ideas from you guys. In currently in the project, there has to be a green dot and a red dot for the starting and ending position. So there has to be a screen where the person can see and then accordingly draw the letters. So I was trying to bypass this step where there is no need of a screen or a display. So how can it be done? Any ideas?
I think maybe a series of LDRs can do. I'm not really sure, but maybe a series of light dependent registers can help.
Okay.
What do you think, Giri? Should have any ideas?
How about you?
I
Can you
can.
repeat the question? Just
I'm not. You're not audible.
Can you repeat the question? Just
I'm trying to say that currently in the project there has to be a display where the person can see that if the tip of the wand has entered the starting or the ending dot. So I'm trying to update the project in such a way that there is no need of a display where a person can see where the tip of the wand is, or there is no need for the starting or the ending dot. Like the program automatically detects that if a letter B is being drawn or not, then it starts tracing the path of the wand.
Then it's more like a gesture detection sort of thing, right? You want to try and figure out if there's a gesture, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, from a hardware point of view, if you want the like simplest sort of gestures, there's more like ZX sort of sensors. It's also open source. Try and find it. That's mainly for gesture sort of detection. Let me see if I can pull up a link. And
yes.
want like
Jasmeet,
more.
I have a feeling you could do this in software. I mean, essentially, what you're trying to do is you're trying to detect waypoints to see, and maybe you will. I mean, I don't know if there is any ready-made library to do this, but if I had to do it from scratch, I would look at detecting waypoints and then have some kind of a data structure which filters it to some kind of a decision tree that filters it to what character has been printed. I mean that's just a that's the starting point.
And you don't want to use cameras, is it? That's
maybe you can.
Like I think maybe like this would be like quite easy, which is using a accelerometer and ESP32 kind of a scene. So having say like a vertical position where the stick is pointing towards the sky is your starting point and end point, and anything done in between of these is your action.
I was also thinking of an idea. Maybe what you can do is like a starting point. You can also have a gesture for that. For example, if you draw a circle out of that band, then after that circle is recognized, whatever you draw is your gesture, is your main gesture. The moment you stop for like 1 or 2 seconds, that will be a stop time. That will be your stopping point, and then you can apply gesture thing.
So the problem with stopping. Yeah, go on.
Another idea that I can think of is that since your device, essentially your camera, has a frame, right? It has a frame that it sees. So maybe when you're drawing, you could take. I mean, you're already using OpenCV, so you could render it to an offline buffer. Then discard the color, get a mask out of it, and compare it to some predefined masks to see what is the essential, what is the match, what is the match ratio, and then take a decision. I mean, that's just an idea. I can't really comment on the implementation right now. But since you're already seeing that frame, you could take that frame, create a mask out of it, and then compare that mask with predefined, images of characters.
The mask is for the prediction of the letter which is drawn. I already use a mask that is then fed into that image is then fed into a machine learning model, which I trained using a data set from Kaggle I got on handwritten letters.
Okay.
And so the prediction of the letter is done with the help of that model. So a mask is already created for that purpose. So I can maybe use.
Honestly, why do you need those green and red points? I mean, I'm still not sure why do you need those green and red points.
To start the entire process, I believe.
So to start the tracing process, because when the person will come in front of the camera holding the wand and the tip of the wand will be detected, it will start tracing. So to reduce unnecessary traces, I created a starting and ending point where if the tip of the wand enters in the starting point, then the program will start tracing the tip of the wand.
Can you not define a zone on the screen? which says, this is where it, like a bigger zone.
Or maybe you can
Yeah, that can be done.
you can have some sort of wireless connectivity between wand and the PC, and when you press a button on the wand, then only it starts clicking. You need to keep the button pressed entire time while you are doing that.
Can I throw another idea in the pool? Maybe have them spell out something. So have the spell and have voice recognition just to make it more authentic. So you're actually speaking whatever abracadabra, whatever.
So yeah, voice commands can also be done there, right? I didn't want to include any electronics on the wand to keep the experience more magical.
Yeah, so the microphone could be on the hardware itself where you have the detector as well.
Can I
Yeah.
just make a suggestion as well? Not at all hardware related, but perhaps if you're anyway doing Harry Potter and that's what is that Philosopher's Stone mirror, whatever that mirror is there, na? The one in which you see your future or something that you desire or something like that. There's something like that. So why don't you like use that sort of a thematic track and say perhaps just put a one-way mirror in the front where so your camera gets hidden essentially, and you just put some very basic design detail on top of the mirror. So then you can continue using your same. Okay, sorry, I'm not a programmer, so I'm thinking in very simple way that you can continue using the same thing, and like the extra element in your set will allow you to work around with whatever movement that you want. Like the mirror can have a clear sticker on it where you just make some design markers. So say you want them, so then you say, okay, wave your hand in this way or whatever. So then automatically they will just follow whatever graphic is on the mirror.
Yeah, that is a good idea.
Display.
Yeah,
I mean,
maybe-
very simply, that's all.
Sure. So maybe you can ask in the Telegram group after this, and you can post the ideas, everyone.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Mike, you were able to have luck with screen share? Yeah, now we can see. Maybe your mic is muted, so I'll just unmute here.
Okay. And you guys could see the entire screen, so
So yes, there's a small window we can see on the right. Is that what we should see?
Okay. Sorry, I think I could. How about this? Yeah.
Nope, nothing.
We can only see a Zoom window.
Oh man.
Do you have any other device like another display? Maybe if you like plug it out and just use the main display.
Yeah, I'll have to see.
You can also like join from phone as well and use that to show if that works.
No, I mean ideally I would.
I think now we can see your entire desktop. So if you can just minimize this window.
Okay.
We can see the Zoom is open. So if you can minimize that.
Ayan, one thing, like, have you globally pinned Jasmeet screen? I cannot change from his screen.
Oh yes, maybe. Sorry. Yeah. Can you now?
Can you guys see the?
Yeah, now I can.
Browser? Chrome browser.
No, Mike. We can see
only the desktop. Is it?
We can see the Zoom window.
I'm so sorry about this. But yeah, the permissions are messed up. Yeah, I think I'll have to skip at this moment.
Yeah, maybe like by the time Ambika can go next, and you can try joining from phone as well and use your phone camera to show what you want to show, if that helps.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys don't mind, I will keep trying this.
Yeah, sure. Ambika, maybe you can go next if you.
Yeah, I'm happy to go.
Yeah, after Ambika, maybe Abhinav Kumar can go on.
Yeah, after Ambika, Abhinay can go.
Whenever you guys tell me.
Yeah, Ambika, is the time.
Okay.
So you want to share your screen as well?
Yeah, please.
Okay, so Mike, you need to stop sharing screen for
Sure.
Ambika.
Yeah. Done.
So guys, I'm Ambika. I have extremely low experience in all of this, but I've been seeing the Adafruit show and tell for several years. So yeah, so if I don't know if it's shared, then I can show you.
We cannot see your screen yet.
I've stopped sharing. So
yeah,
I'll put the request again.
Yeah,
I
we
think
can.
now it is, yeah. So for PCD this year, which is where we met some people from the Linux group as well, including Ayan, is where I wanted to do I was exploring ML5JS, which is a library made on top of TensorFlow, which is run by the New York Institute University's ITP department, which is Interactive Telecommunications Program, which is basically like they do new media related stuff. So they run the machine learning JS library there, and they have something called PoseNet, which is basically detects poses of people. And the limitation of the library itself is that it can only detect 5 people right now. But I think PoseNet on its own, which is a TensorFlow library, can detect a fair number more. And when PCD was happening, that was the time when Delhi was going through a fair amount of unrest, and there was Section 144 that had come through. So I was just playing on that idea that okay, if 5 people are detected, that means as part of the law it says that if there are more than 5 people gathering, it's called unlawful, quote unquote, unlawful assembly. So I was just looking at that idea, and I just wanted to see what it would mean for us to be able to in a fun way look at it. And I just added the little emoji in the front because I didn't want people's faces to be recognized. So now I don't have 5 people in my house, but I do have some of my family members in this picture. I don't know if you could zoom in. So as soon as it detects 5 people, so it's like 4 of my grandparents and my mom and me. So it's 5. So it's immediately detaining you. And I mean, my further plan was that it kind of puts it up on the internet where you can like it tweets it off like a Twitter bot account. The it was just a fun exercise to figure out, but it had very interesting responses. I mean, most people understood that it was just a like a riff on what was happening in the city, but some people did come up to me and say, oh, but maybe you should talk to the police and maybe they can put it up near the barricades. It kind of scared me a bit, but yeah, this was just an exploration in terms of how computer vision can sort of have these sort of interesting implications to and we are sort of always celebrating technology, but I think once in a while it's nice to just kind of pause and understand the sort of implications of what we are celebrating so much. That's about it. That's it. Take care. I'll stop share. Huh?
Yeah.
Sorry, Mike, I didn't give you enough time to figure out your screen share, but
Awesome.
No,
Thanks
no,
a lot for the
it's
demo.
just Mac. It keeps changing stuff here and there. So I think not you.
Awesome. So, Abhinay, would you like to share what you have been working on?
Hi guys.
Hi. Yeah.
I'm Abhinav.
Abhinav. Oh yeah. So we have Abhinav and Abhinay. So
we
yeah,
have
maybe
two
you
guys.
can,
Yeah.
you can
Yeah,
go
Koparzi, I guess.
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
go first.
Okay, so in my free time, wait, I have to enable screen share first. Screen share. Is it working?
Yeah.
You guys can see stuff?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Huh. Okay, so you can do like I'll give a quick like all my projects are here. It's quite a few, so but then I'll keep it short. Okay. You can go to bit.ly/ILUGD to get the same list. And
Maybe Abhinav, can you please introduce yourself? Like.
Oh, okay. I skipped that. Okay. Yeah. So my name is Abhinav Kumar. I have done MBBS, so I guess it's time I put the doctor tag. Okay, Dr. Abhinav Kumar. And so yeah, in the middle of all this medical studying, hang on. So yeah, in the middle of all the books, Okay, this is quite a bit. Yeah, I take out time to program and stuff as like a hobby. So after people come back from exam, they usually go to drink and stuff. I just sit in front of computer and code for another 18 hours, even though I've been awake for the past 18 hours studying. So yeah, kind of like it's passion, nice, fun thing. So okay, yeah, I guess that's. Oh, by the way, I'm from Kasturba Medical College, Manipal. The like no, not the Manipal University that people know in Jaipur. Okay, the one down south in Karnataka. Okay, so yeah, now I think I'll start, right? Uh, Somebody from?
Yeah, continue.
Yeah. Yeah, so you can go to bit.ly/ILUGD. It was available, guys. What's up? I hijacked it. Um, I could give it back to you, the admin, like whenever they want it.
Yeah, sure.
So for now, it's bit.ly/ILUGD, and you'll be redirected to my GitHub, where I have a list of all the live demo versions as well as the GitHub write-up. Okay, and so yeah, I have already opened all of them up in my local instance on my computer. Okay, so I'll start with the first code that I worked on. Like after reading, I'm like I've done PHP, so I worked on a site for like we had a workshop, as in like we wanted to organize our workshop for surgery club. So this is our surgery club's logo and everything. So people could by default everybody would be members, and some would have to be the admins, of course, to manage everything. You can guess the password. It's AK. This is just a dummy one. As in like the real website is elsewhere. So this one I just .ml is like a free top level domain, so I just grabbed it for like trying it out. So yeah, you can on this, like it's just for organizing, so everybody can join in. They can keep track of their workshops. Then they can keep track of their fee payment, as well as how far they've come, and like upcoming workshops they can join, etc. So I've logged in as an admin, and these are the admin actions. There are some actions which are restricted, which like super admin, because it's a bit risky. So only those who know will go there. So God mode. If you enable God mode, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I guess. Please come on. No, it didn't. Even I don't know my own password. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, on. Then these two buttons become enabled. Otherwise, they would just and then one click to turn them off. Now it would just redirect you back. Go back to dashboard, enable God mode. Okay, so start. The members. This is the list of all the members you can see. These were there to indicate how far they have progressed. Like the guy has completed stage 5 workshop 5, and this guy has completed up to stage 3 workshop 2, and their upcoming workshops. Yeah, and yeah, so you can find a particular user. This is the college registration ID, phone call, email, and then view. So you get a list of all the workshop they completed, which workshop, and the feedback and file. Once they complete the workshop, they'll get access to the feedback and the files that are associated with that workshop. And yeah, so like people, admins have access to like the whole comment section about a particular user they can write. And okay, yeah, so you can edit, assign workshop. You can also assign workshop if they themselves have not gotten. You get the idea. Yeah, if they haven't applied for it and they like, then yeah. So see, this one has completed workshop number 67. Unfortunately, we deleted it. But then like his track record is saved that he did 67. And and this is the workshop page where you can create workshops. And once you create a workshop, it'll become available to the member to join if he has paid the fee for that stage of workshop. So yeah, it was all this stuff. This is only for admins. There was an intermediate stage called supervisor. So even they can go and supervise the workshop. This is about surgeries, like how to give sutures, how to insert the endotracheal tube, how to insert Ryle's tube, Foley's catheter. Foley's catheter is that like if people are unable to pee, so they get that surgical method of like, they their urinary bladder will be put like kept at rest. They don't need to walk around if they are bedridden and stuff like that. So yeah, all that stuff was taught in this. So like you are either going to learn it once once you're starting for studying higher level surgery, or you could pick up some skills at the beginner level itself. You can decide the date, you can choose the workshop level, you can create new workshops. And yeah, and transaction history is another important page where you can see how much ever everybody has paid. And you can also search for it. This is the first time I tried using JavaScript. So Ajax, you can like search here, this comes up with a quick result of all the people who with that name, of course. It also searches with their number, so 298 will again shorten it down to those with the row number 298, and so forth. And then so I created, because I was using the star method of deciding how much they have completed in multiple places, I just wrote a separate code for it and then included it into every single script of mine, like every single page that needed to run it. Unfortunately, my coding, on the other hand, is pretty ugly. Why? Because I don't use any framework or of that model view controller. Back then, I didn't have any idea. Only recently, I have picked up this thing. What? The Laravel. Cut above that of the Fuzzy Club. Because see, they are all single files right on the front. And 1% index. So yeah. Okay. And it was like this. Okay. Don't like. Okay, yeah. So that is one. Then like, of course, in God mode, 1, 2, 3, 4. Special options like some default settings of how much should the fee be for the next workshop. Yeah. Stage 3, like people can pay for one particular stage and attend all the workshops for that stages. Only if they complete all and they have paid the fee for the next stage will they get access to join the next level workshop. Okay, so that's the idea. And so like if a member wanted to join, he could go to his, like, let's say gotta catch him, okay, Pokemon. He could go to the workshop list out here. If I create a new workshop, it will appear, okay, so stage 2 workshop 4 is not scheduled. So I, as an admin, will go to this page. I'll choose a stage 2 workshop 4. I'll give it a date. I'll give it any random date. I'll give ILUGB. Okay, of time. Yeah. Created, and now we'll go back to this thing. Gotta catch him. Now he'll get this play workshop 4 out here will appear. Yeah. If there are many workshops available, he could, at a comfort of whenever he's free at his leisure, he could pick up one of the workshop dates and hit apply. And since like I didn't know how to synchronize it in real time, like what if somebody else takes up what if somebody takes up the 30th seat and now there are 0 seats available? What then? Like if he also applies at the same time, there'll be a conflict. So every 30 seconds, I put the page to auto reload.
Yeah, it's a really cool project considering you are a doctor and you are learning PHP. That's a really good choice.
Yeah, really cool.
Really created an whole enterprise website.
Yeah, we have Animesh over here who is a PHP god.
Hey.
Yeah. And like you, I've been also working with core PHP for a very long time.
Okay.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing, Abhinav. Really cool project.
Okay, one last part. If he places a reservation, now the seats would reduce to, and now if he applied for workshop 73, and once you go to 73, you can see that the person has applied. So now once the person attends, the admin can set his attendance to yes, update attendance. And now once you go back to his the member's own page, you can see that stage 2 workshop 4 he completed. Yeah, so that is it. Okay. So this is one. The others are pretty simple, and I think they will interest you as well. I hope you guys aren't bored.
It's all right. I guess we can have Mike next. Mike, are you ready?
Oh yeah, Mike.
Yeah, sure. Abhinav, can you please stop sharing your screen now?
Oh, okay. I gotta do that. Hang on. Why is the button not working? Okay. Gotta maximize the thing.
Firstly, minimize because I can see my chat with you.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Thanks. The button is right here, but it's not opening. Okay, go to home and then try opening. Oh, the whole thing is on. Stop share. It comes from top. Got it. Yeah.
Awesome,
stop.
Mike. Yeah. Maybe you can take from here, and hopefully it works this time. Yes, we can finally see something.
Yeah. Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, and can you guys see this finally? This
Yeah,
time?
we can finally see this.
Everything. Okay, awesome. So there's a website. I'm gonna just minimize this. There's a website. I mean, we work with a lot of creative coding stuff right now to create even these sort of graphics. So everything you see is mostly like code, and I want to run you guys through like a quick process of what happens. I'm going to be specific about this one project which is called Sound and Structure. It's loading. Yeah, so I'm just going to run you guys through the process. So this was a quick 20-day experiment back in 2016, I would say, and in 20 days, quick 12 experiments, and trying to make some music with code. uh, yeah, I mean, as I was saying, I love like making music, but I don't know how to play any instruments. So these are like some musical concepts trying to build into code and making music. This I've worked along with Natasha, who's our co-founder, and as a method, so pretty much anytime I want to do anything, I use like processing. Arduino is like another sister project of it. Processing, I hope like a lot of you guys know because you guys are from an open source background. And in this case, since hardware was getting harder for me to pitch to clients and stuff like that, so we moved more towards software. And I, I'm not from a coding background per se. I literally flunked in code, but then processing helped me learn everything about code. So when it comes to this specific project, the method was like quite simple, where I load in shapes, right? And each, you guys will have to tell me if you guys can hear the sound as well. For this, can you guys hear the sound?
Yeah.
Awesome. So in this, we've just like loaded a shape, and every point, right? We've written like code so that it can translate that point values, which is x and y values, into sound. Like it's like you're modulating sound. This is like basic frequency modulation.
Awesome.
And most of the times you can, and most of the times it's like you play around with multiple softwares, try and figure out if you want to bring a concept out, what's the best way or the easiest way to actually do this. So that was that. In this we use like control p5, which is like the GUI library, and geomerative. There's a cool library for loading SVG and stuff like that. And OSC is to make sound. Sorry. Yeah, OSC is to give that sound, and also like MIDI if you want to like trigger some things with MIDI. So I mean, pretty much with processing, it's like you can literally do anything in a very short span of time. In a way, you can bring any concept you have in mind. Further on, since then, I mean, we've been experimenting more and more and more. These were with simple shapes, and then we even tried to like have MIDI sent to Ableton. And back in 2017 is when I started learning more of web development, so that this can be given out to anyone. And so here on the left, you'll actually see so it's just like a workflow. So it's there are a lot of courses online where we can, yeah, it's taking time to load, but yeah, this is a basic idea where these are shapes, right? And there's like a dot which is like tracking it, and if you change the BPM or something, it goes faster. So I I mean, I love this process because I don't know how to play music or how to play instruments specifically. So I started learning more about how these things can be made. And further on, yeah, this was featured on like a Vice China and stuff like that. But this is where you're like trying to, I'm trying to trace like this is Vedant Southern Bangalore. These things are like traced, same software, and this actually makes music. I can show you like a small segment of it, probably. So, as a whole, when it comes to working with art and code, processing and these mediums are like amazing. It's just about exploring. So you see this, like every dot specifically is like triggering sound, and it makes like generative music. Now, what I wanna jump into quickly is the tool which I was talking about. I mean, it took like more than a year to come to a stage where it made sense to play music with that. This is the tool. I'm gonna quickly paste this link. Um, Yeah. So that's the link for the tool. I mean, it's at a very like basic stage, I would say. And yeah, it's like a Adobe Illustrator on the left, and yeah, that being connected to sound. So if I take a simple shape, let's say I take a triangle, right, and I draw two triangles, one like that and another one which is inverted. So how different would these two sound? I mean, that's the sort of exploration. I mean, as you guys can see, it's not perfect. Let's see. Okay, yeah, there's some glitches with the UI and everything. That's what I've been struggling with quite a bit. But yeah, you can essentially make a shape, pick any instrument you want, and okay, and actually hit this play button. So what happens is every point it's like triggering, a note. And going further, I mean, I can make this higher. And one more interesting thing I can do is I can take like the X value, let's say, and map it to these notes. So it's like it takes the leftmost value and it maps to A2, and it takes the rightmost value and it maps to F5. Somewhere in between is like an in-between note. Let me do the same thing for this. I'm going to choose the same instrument, but I'll keep it like quite higher. And I can probably map like Y, or let me just map X itself. So at this point, both of them are actually triggering at the same time. So this is the left one and this is the right one. So, and yeah, you have like some more controls to map volume and stuff like that. So this is like the basics of it. The fun comes when, simply put, every shape is now an instrument, right? I can even make a different sound, let's say, like tree trunk. So these two are literally playing like different sound. So this is a general idea. And yeah, I mean, we wanted like playing music should be as simple as, yeah, literally going somewhere and making music. So that's why it's called Sketchbook.
Awesome.
Do we have time? Just I had a small composition. Yes, no.
Yes, sure. If you want to play it right now, or
Yeah.
maybe what we can do is like play all the music at the end if it's not if it's big.
Oh, I mean, I don't know if it's like big or small. It's literally like,
Oh,
yeah,
it's generative music. My bad. Yeah.
yeah,
So
it's generative music. So you
let's
can
play.
literally play for hours, or I can just show it for like a minute.
Yeah, let's play for some time and then maybe we can stop.
Great.
Okay, cool. So I've got like these. This was like a. I mean, this itself could be a composition. Why is the UI so messed up? Okay, just give me a minute. I think I'll have to. Yeah, there are a lot of glitches in the program which I'm still trying to fix. Man. Okay. Anyways. Yeah. So this, I think I'm just gonna keep this like separate. Yeah, if I start playing now. So this instrument uh, is is making that sound. The beauty about it is it's generative, so you can like literally have these parameters control all of this. I don't know why there are two, but
That's very cool.
Can you increase that speed of that?
yeah, I'm gonna do that. I just want to like remove this actually. I don't know why the UI is a bit messed up right now.
I guess it's all right. Do you have this project online? Like, is it open source?
Awesome.
Yeah, I think I'll stop sharing now.
Yeah. So we need to like end the call in next 30 minutes or so because there is another class which has to happen here and they need to use the server. So really great project, Mike. Thanks for sharing. And maybe you can also consider writing at tips@hackaday.com and a lot of people would be interested to see.
Yeah,
this
it's a bit
happen.
messed up right now. I mean, the whole interface.
And that's cool. Every project is messed up. We have been.
We're trying to figure out, yeah, how it can be improved and everything. But
Awesome.
yeah, that's the general idea. I wanted to give a overview.
Okay, so
Very awesome.
yes, maybe Abhinav can finish the remaining part of the show and tell.
Oh yeah. Hey guys, I'm back. Okay, now these are the tiny ones, so they should interest you.
Yeah. So after this is like after Abhinav, we have Abhinay and Shivam, and I think yeah, that'll be all for today.
Okay, so this is. Wait, where did I go? Okay, you can see my screen, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. You can see that this is like a search bar. Usually I used to search stuff which I wanted to like search again in the future. So I made like a smart search kind of thing, which stores all your searches in the database. And you can also choose which search engine you want to search with. Like usually whenever I used to archive a page in Web Archive or Archivist, I would like to have a copy of that like link here. I mean, in case I need to search in the future, like the link only gets lost of the point. So the globe symbol would directly open the website and like being open. And similarly, you could search for any, and then if it is like from a previous search was done, so as you type, it can shorten down to that, as well as if you select one, it pastes itself out here, and then you submit. Or you can also edit the engine details. By Ajax, it fetches all the parameters. Okay, this is one. The next one is when I was learning Kannada, I needed to sort of like save all the words and their Kannada translation. So the interface looks like Google, sort of. And so like whatever method I used like OneNote and stuff. They weren't effective in searching, and I wanted to keep all the data with myself. So I created like, these are the categories, and you can just search for any word and it'll come from the like list. Okay, this is another. So I called it lexicon because initially the intention was to keep it as a dictionary, but then everything went in, depending on what category you go for. Then there was then there's a media server. Like apart from storing the media as like with the file name, there's not much you can do. So I created like a media server where let's see, I have I upload an image and then I can tag it with random stuff. If it's not that snail got added as a tag, and then upload multiple I'm still working with. Otherwise, yeah, these are just different images that like, so based on tag, it recommends other posts with similar tag. So this is just a way of organizing my media collection, like so I can find content faster. And then for like, one of my friends needed a way to keep track of all his patients. So out here you can see the date, like you can create a new patient with his detail. Every patient gets a unique outpatient number, so that gets stored here. I'm hearing, okay. Yeah, and then out here you can search for all the upcoming appointments. When is the next appointment? Like you can search for the upcoming appointment. You can see the past patient list. By default, it chooses the first of your current month till the date that is today.
Abhinav, I think there is also just one question here. So, have you seen this project called Liber Health? It is an open source hospital management project, which is also written in PHP, and maybe you can, consider
okay,
also.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll check it out.
Yeah,
okay.
Sure.
So maybe put those GitHub links in the group chat, and maybe we can move on to Abhinay.
Yeah, sure. We have like a lot of show and tell coming. So
okay, guys. Yeah.
We can save a couple of projects for that. So Abhinay, I believe, will be doing some live coding and using. So if that's the case, maybe Abhinay can go last. And Abhinay, could you share what you're going to show?
Audio. I can't hear the mic.
Yeah, Abhinay. Yeah.
Oh, is that better?
Yeah, that's much better. Loud and clear.
Okay. I'm not going to show anything from like screen share and all after seeing all the problems happening with everyone. Also, the fact that a bunch of my things are running on multiple screens, so it's just going to be a bit of a headache. So the two main things I want to talk about are Algorithm India as well as what we do with live coding and the rest of the arts and programming getting mixed together sort of thing. So you want to do it? Do you want me to wait a bit? You can do that.
So if there's something music and art involved, maybe you can go last, and we have like one or two more show and tell. So we can end it with some music from you. How
much time do we have is the question, because then
we have like 20 more minutes, 25 more minutes, because there's another class which is going to need this Zoom server.
Yeah. So which means only like a 3 to 5 minute thing.
Yeah, but for the music, we are going to move back to the Discord server, so you can anyway play there for as long as you want. But just to show your setup, you can use this one.
Okay. I mean, the cool part with it is the seeing what code does what. which we'll lose on the Discord server. But yeah, okay.
No, I believe we can also share the screen and the camera on the Discord, because that's what
Oh, okay. I don't know how to work that. Today, Mike told me how to even listen to stuff, because
Okay,
for the longest time.
So what we can do is we can go with you, and you can maybe take 10, 15, 20 minutes, and for the remaining show and tell, we can have another session, which we already planning for day after tomorrow, if that sounds good to everyone. Because it's really hard to get hold of Abhinay. He's a really busy man.
Yeah, sure.
Awesome. So you can take it from here. All yours.
All right. So starting from, I've been in this bizarre game of trying to shoehorn technology into music and all of that. It actually started out as a need. So I've been developing for a long time. Gave up on PHP a long time ago, and thankfully gave up on medicine even longer back. I was almost going to be stuck into that world, but somehow saved myself. But the rest of my family did not. Well, one of the first things I want to talk about quickly is everyone has seen these launch pads. So before these came out, there used to be a project called Monomi. So I built a Monomi about 12 or 13 years back on these buttons which have little LEDs in them, and it was basically built on a little handmade Arduino board type thing. It's basically a normal Atmel running multiplexer for the lights as well as buttons. So nothing special now, but back in the day it was a fun thing to do. These days I've been running something called Algorithm India, which is a collective of artists and programmers and musicians, and we make our art with and do performances with a process called live coding. The idea with live coding, I don't know if I have to explain to this group, is mainly that we put all our code out in the open. We used to do these gigs even 15 years back, where in mostly art galleries, because those were the only places that would have us, where we would play what people considered weird music, but most of the time it was drum and bass with a bit of noise in there. But with this live coding thing, I think we have been accepted a lot more. So the idea with live coding is that you write code live in front of the audience, or you present the code that you have made to do the performance in front of the audience, and you evaluate those things live. So the few systems I've been playing with is one is called Tidal Cycles. Now, Tidal Cycles is built on Haskell, and it has a few different components in it. So I'll just switch my camera to the thing screen. Okay. So I run something called Super Collider, which is a framework that has been there for about 25 years or so, but it only got the open sourced about 18 years back or so, which is when it started really growing. The idea with Super Collider is it does all the synthesis as well as can also do control between different systems. Most of the time it works with something called OSC, which is Open Sound Control. And it's a protocol like MIDI, but the great part is that it works off the Ethernet. This Monome project that I mentioned was also because Monomi used to work on OSC, but because the hardware was built on Atmel-based chips, there was a serial to OSC connection, and you had to have a little server running on the top that would do all the translations. So a bunch of projects have been built for Monomi to Super Collider. itself. The way I use it is with this Haskell library called Tidal Cycles. And I have a fairly customized version of Tidal Cycles. With Algorave India or Algoraves and live coding gigs, we try to share all our code. So my full performance setup is on my GitHub. So you can go check it out. I'll put up the link on the chat. But the idea is I have Atom running here. You can also have Superglider running as a separate app, but I like to see all my code in one screen. And then I have wow, this thing really lit up. And then I have my my Haskell code, which also has niceties which don't exist in normal Tidal Cycles. Things like I can load up samples. So most musicians work with either synthesis methods or they take sounds that are already existing, record them with the audio recorder, and then you can play them. So just as a simple demonstration, if I want to play a bass drum, I can write and if I want to write a bass drum, if I want to play a bass drum 4 times, I just write. So that already exists in Tidal Cycles. What I added to it is things like I want to load up a few different synths. So there are these special functions I've written which communicate between Tidal Cycles and Superglider in other ways that don't exist in the system, and let you load up the sounds that you want. So for example, load up collab sounds, and here in my post window, this would come up. There are other functions like I wanted to Indianize the thing a little bit. So let's say, playing a bass drum and I wanted to make it go quiet. So I can just write chup and then it'll just shut up. Or if the simple things like you want to play something not on beat but off beat. So I'll disable this line. I wanted to play off beat instead, so I'll say oft. Now you won't be able to identify where that shift is happening. For reference, I'll play another beat called hi-hat. So without this, it will play okay. Quick furthering of the setup. For years and years, I was trying to build a performance setup which will also do visuals, because I also make visuals. We had a little workshop earlier in the day on this one system called Hydra that I've been performing with for a couple of years. Now Hydra is built on JavaScript, but it basically hides the complexity of things called shaders, WebGL shaders, which if you are into if you're into 3JS or things like that, is where you will use them. But writing shaders right in front of an audience is a bit of a headache, because there's a lot of setup code you can have to write. So instead, you can let's see if I can pull up some pre-written code. Okay. So the idea is with Hydra, you want to draw a very simple shape. You can, if it starts, okay, great. So it just gives us a 4-sided shape, 5-sided shape, 3-sided shape. And then you can do various things like you can rotate it. various different speeds, different directions, all of that. Great. Well, works well, but it works well only when I have enough time to be able to switch contexts between two languages and also have enough bandwidth available on one machine to be able to run everything.
Yeah, Abhinay,
So-
what's that plugin for that IDE?
So this thing also runs in the browser. You can just go on, as long as you're running this in Chrome, you can go to this website hydraeditor.twitch.me, which I'll put in the chat. So this will let you do all of this without installing anything. But if you are open to working in Atom, which not everyone is, you can install this plugin called Atom Hydra. So Atom Hydra. I'll put the link to this as well. But the easiest way to get into this is through the website. I'll also post a link through a quick handout that I've written, which runs you through the basics of Hydra. And you can make fairly complex visuals through it. Now, the rest of my visual setup that I built was made on this thing called the Jetson Nano. It's a little product that NVIDIA put out, early last year or so. They have a older thing called the Jetson TX1 and the TX2, which is all built on their Tegra platform. But the great part about the Jetson Nano is it runs on 5-volt battery, 5-volt connection. As long as you can specify, as long as you can give it a proper 2.5 amps, it'll even do your machine learning projects and all of that properly. So I have the Jetson connected through an HDMI cable to my display over here. And I have an Ethernet connection going out from my router. Now I do carry around the router 2 gigs for this. But the idea is I can send my OSC data from my performance setup, from my tidal cycles performance setup into the Jetson. And then I can have visuals happening sync to the beat. And I can go more complex. Now, the trouble that I'm facing right now is this. I seem to play a lot of notes at one point in time, and I end up saturating my Ethernet connection. I am not actually entirely sure whether it's the Ethernet connection that's the problem or just that system is not able to cope up with it. Akash here, he has been playing with us, and he's been part of Algorave India as one of the core members from the start. So we do these collaborate, and he has often killed this system while in the middle of performance. So I'm trying to actually figure out a nice system to make this a little more resilient. What I'll quickly do is play a bit of a performance type thing for you guys that I made earlier in the evening. If it plays properly. You can stop me whenever you want, yeah?
Sure.
Sorry about that.
Hi, Abhinay, if I can, sorry to interrupt you. So I think we need to vacate the room for the next class. So I've created a Jitsi room. I put the link in the chat. We can continue there. Everyone can move to there. So just need to share a couple of things before everyone goes. So thanks a lot for hanging around today. And it was great seeing all your lovely projects and whatever you shared. It was really fun, especially in the times like this where everyone is social distancing. And yeah, so as Drew mentioned, it was actually great. So a lot of global events which are not happening now, we can also attend that from the comfort of our home, and we should do that more often. So Hacker Day has a full month full of calendar uh, which you can see here. So here are all the events which are going to happen over the months on Hacker Day. So I believe tonight there's a class on quantum computing by Kitty, who is awesome. So if you want to check that out, you can do. Also, if you want to propose,
How
also
to
if you
join the
want,
class?
yeah. So you need to follow Hacker Day on Twitter. So it's @HackerDay. So just follow Hackaday and you will get all the updates. So also, if you want to propose any class, if you want to, for example, if you want to share what you are doing and you want to take a class with the people around the world, you can also do that by writing to Hackaday on Twitter. So that's the calendar. And thank you very much for hanging. And we are planning to do it more often, like at least once in a week or so. So yeah, if everyone can open their webcam once, and I'll just take a quick screenshot if there is no problem with anyone. So if anyone is not comfortable, you can switch it off. Otherwise, I'm gonna take a screenshot. So uh, Akash, maybe if you can open your webcam. So that's the calendar, and thank you very much for. Okay, so it's resonating somewhere. Okay, so I also see Ambika. Ambika, if you can open your webcam, we just need to take a quick selfie, if that's fine. Okay, I'm gonna take one anyway. Oh, we got Sophie here. Hi, Sophie.
Yeah, I'm not gonna open it.
Okay, no issues.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take Hacker Day in this one.
Yeah.
Awesome, we have it. All right, thank you very much for being here, and catch you guys soon. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Getting us together.
Thank you, Sophie, for helping with this.
Yeah, of course. Anytime. You're always welcome.
Awesome, thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye bye.
Bye.
I'm gonna join the Jitsi. So if anyone is around, you can come on Jitsi.
So Ayan, am I supposed to record this call too?
I'm not sure. Like, if you want, you can do that. But we are here so we can see Abhinay performance, and if he's around, maybe he can play here.
Yeah, sure. So I'm not going to record it. I'm going to pause my recording now. All right.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
So I think even Akash is there. Akash, maybe you can start playing, and Abhinay can join as he comes.
Picture in my head of the boy I still resemble. I no longer understand